very, very kindly come in today to have a chat to you about shoeing and foot balance and stuff, really.
Hi everybody.
With regards to keeping horses sound and management practices.
Yeah. We'll try and identify the hoof capture structure, identify structures inside, understand basic hoof conformation, and look at some basic equine foot function, as well as, which I think is important for you people, clinical evidence of capsular distortion. So if you're looking at something, you're not sure if it's right or wrong, hopefully we'll get somewhere. There we go. Okay, so what is foot balance? There's a couple of twists there. There's one provided by the English Dictionary. It's probably applicable to everything, because everything is a three-dimensional object, okay? So it's got three coordinates, we'll look at that later. Okay, Bulk, 1998. He's got his little theory. Appropriate balance is defined as hoof preparation, trimming and the likes of, that enhances performance and interferes minimally with long-term athletic ability. And that's what farriers are supposed to be doing all the time, is extending the life and the capacity, working capacity of that equine. We've got a nice little one from Mr. Hayes, probably got it from somewhere, but that's good, that's important. Asymmetry, alignment, proportions. When we've got all those correct, we've got good foot proportions, geometrics. But here's one for pretty much those are static, standing still. Okay. Here we got one by Back and Clayton, you might be familiar with. But they advocate that when the foot is balanced, both heels strike the ground simultaneously. Well, usually it's the outside heel first, but you're doing pretty well if you get both to land at the same time. So this balance is in dynamics. But some studies do show that it's the outside, but it's still a good point. That's where it all starts. Okay. There's a couple words there: peronicium, epinicium. A lot of the top people, I'm not saying I know exactly what it is, but there's some discrepancies. Do we call it peronicium or do we call it epinicium? Stephen O'Grady, I think, calls it epinicium. Mr. Curtis calls it peronicium. Mr. Curtis wasn't even aware of epinicium, but basically that's just the layer, all right? Very, very, very early birth of this foal. That there is obviously to protect bits and pieces inside the female. Okay, it drops off when pretty much when the foal hits the floor. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, this here is not what that is. This just describes, if you've ever seen young foals, there's a little hoof crease which seems to grow down. You think, oh crikey, that's excess wool, we'll take that off. No, you don't take that off until that horse is something like, I think Mr. Curtis says 64 to 80 odd days old. That will stay with that hoof capsule until it grows out. There's some of the structures. Where are we? Can you see that? There's the coronary cushion, there, coronary groove. The whole capsule, when I took it out of the pot, it just contracted. Couldn't help it. If I'd have known, I'd have stuck a wedge there, kept it apart. So where these bars are, it's just all gone a bit contracted. But there's your bars, which are very important to the foot. Okay. And all this horn here is keratinized cells. Okay, dead keratinized cells. Okay. Some of the texts that we promote: Northern Hemisphere, the growth is approximately 8 mil in the summer and 4 mil in the winter. You'll see various growth rates. That growth rate is quite dependent on a lot of those situations. Okay, moisture, degree of pigmentation. There's a big list there, alright? These two are here, I don't know why I put them at the bottom, but I think, or these three here, they should probably be put at the top a bit more, because that provides a nice little triangle. Nutrition, farrier, and good horse husbandry, okay? We'll see that again. Here is two variables which can be used to calculate the growth. Growth rate is the pace, okay? That is very different. If you're going to do a study, you're going to need to define what your growth rate is and what your hoof growth is. They are two different things, okay? And Mr. Riley here, do you know these people? Do you know, who would I just say? Simon Curtis. Do you know Simon Curtis? A fellow of the worship company. You would know Simon Curtis, wouldn't you? Yeah. Mr. Riley here is a professor that took me halfway through my bachelor's. He's in all the books as well. Simon Curtis, some of this stuff comes out of his books. But here, look, Mr. Riley says, general terms, growth rate, mature horse, 7 mil. So, you know, that's not far off what Mr. Hayes says. We'll skip that because we can just talk and talk and talk, and there's other things that are very important. Are you all pretty familiar with how the horn develops? Do you understand about papillae, germinative layer, right? That you can easily look at that in. You can Google, I think, Chris Pollitt, or just go into the library and look at Simon Curtis's books. And again, Mr. Riley, it's a lot of his work, all right? But up here, you know, we've got the papillae, which are responsible for the horn, and the germinative layer. Here is that bit there, look, is the white line. There's the pigmented horn, and this is the bulk of the hoof wall. Stratum externum, stratum medium, and then the interlocking interdigitation, which we've got here, all right? The horny hoof, and that's your interdigitation. That's what grows down. Okay. Here are the structures. Here's the corium, which is in the coronary cushion up here, and this is responsible for the papillae, which grow tubules in an intertubular horn. Okay. But that you can easily get in the library. There's just another one. There's the papillae. Okay. The skin, epidermis and dermis come down. Right, here's the laminal surface, P3. There's just one more diagram. There's the strata. There's actually 4 types of tubules. The intermediate tubules are developed. They're slightly different to 1, 2 and 3. Okay? But also we've got different shapes. We've got quite a flat structure there, and they get rounder and rounder until we get here, okay? They perform slightly different functions, all right? And there is your dermal tissue, all right? When the farrier pricks the horse, that's what's going to bleed, all right? But this is an interesting one. Here we've got the same as what I showed you, that hand sketch. But this is taken from Kasapi and Gosling, and it shows the intertubular horn, the horn material that surrounds the tubules, that it's orientated in a different manner as it progresses towards the sensitive, okay? And each of these different layers or formations, they have their own function. They're there to retard cracks, okay? Here we've got a different function to what we've got here, okay? Here we've got more flexibility, elasticity. Right at the front we've got that crack retardation process. There we go. There it is there. It's changing all the time, all right? Here's the tubules. There's the intertubular material, okay? Right. Foot function. This chap, Lundwitz, he put bells on, exactly on the feet, but he put little electrodes that when they meet, they rang a bell, all right? This is in Mr. Kurtz's books. The deformation of this elastoplastic material, all right, on weight bearing at mid-stance, the quarters come out, they expand. You'll see this on shoes which are worn. If Farrier takes them off, you'll see this expansion and contraction. Okay. Corner brand drops down. Okay. The toe sort of deflects in. This wall here deflects inward as well. All right. If you've got very high sensitive slow motion cameras, you can actually pick that up, but it's very, very high. But look, in 1891, this guy found that we've got this hoof deformation process, and on weight bearing, the digital cushion is squashed onto the frog, and the frog has got nowhere to go if the frog has not been atrophied and is level with the shoe. Okay, so things have got to go somewhere. So out go the horny bars, out go the collateral cartilages. Okay, there. All right. Body weight descends. At enrolment, the whole process comes back in. Okay, and within that process, you've also got to look at the effects of the hemodynamics of the foot. Okay, they're a very important part. If we got a healthy foot, we've got a healthy frog, good strong bars, good structures within the foot, good digital cushion in the correct place, good blood flow, we've got a healthy foot, a really, really healthy foot. Any questions about this foot function?
I was just going to say, this is why, I mean, one of the reasons if a horse is on box rest, their legs will swell, because the whole of this function is also to help with the circulatory system and the lymphatic system, isn't it?
Yeah.
Without this sort of pumping up action.
That's responsible for a lot of things. And yeah, you're right, you know, you've got a horse on box rest and he's not getting any mechanical function within his hoof capsule. And if he's got certain pathologies which might need some good nourishment to it, the blood's going to supply that, and if it's not moving around, it's really not pumping it all the way through. All right. Now here are the coordinates. Everything's got a coordinate, okay, because it's all three-dimensional. So always think of the hoof capsule as a X and Y and Z coordinates. Okay, again, back in Clayton. That's a cracking book. That it might not be. It might be 2009. We'll look at it. It's on the references at the end. But that's a really good book for you guys because it's referenced properly. Okay, it's peer reviewed and all the stuff is good. Now, this one here. When you're looking at a horse, you want to be looking at good foot ratios. Okay. Farriers will look at it straight away. This is what they need to assess it in a couple of minutes. Look at the articulation, okay? That drops down at the farthest weight bearing point, okay? There's the farthest extremity, that includes the digital cushion. Ratios of that, 3 to 1. Can we see that? Roughly the dorsal wall is 3 times that of the heel. The heel is usually a less steeper angle than the dorsal wall. But we've got parallel surface along here. Okay? We've got equal proportions from there to there, there to there. That is the same as that. That is the maximum point of breakover where there's no point in taking a shoe further back because you're not getting any benefits, okay? So, this here will determine the width of steel to be used, but it's not just empirical. It shows that there's no point putting breakover past that point, the tip of P3, okay? But if we look at those ratios, try and keep this in your mind, because this is how farriers will develop their shoes, okay? Well, sometimes you can map it, foot map it, okay? You just get the pencil or a marker, draw those lines on there, but in the daily rounds of a usual farrier, he's not going to bother with that, but we look at it, we assess that straight away, alright? But then we try to trim the foot so that we got all these proportions pretty much equal. This is a perfectly conformed foot. No horse is perfectly conformed, but we can try. But that's where your toenail's going to go. We already decided the size of the steel. That's where your toenail's going to go. Then some quarter nails or wherever you need to position them, what you want. That there is going to be the farthest weight bearing point of the foot, so the shoe should end about here. Again, determine the foot pathology and or hoof conformation will determine that. Right, here's a little bit about moments, ground reaction force and weight bearing, okay? See this blue line, this is a deep digital flexor tendon, okay? When horses have got laminitis, the overriding pull of that DDFT is massive, okay? The whole flexor unit. This is what's ripping disorganised horn here. So this foot here could be said to be in perfect balance, yeah? On weight bearing, we've got all these stresses within the hoof capsule. They're all equalising or cancelling each other out, okay? Right, if we've made our shoe, we can put however that foot is made into the shoe, all right? Up there, we've got our toenails, okay? Roughly, it's at the last weight bearing point of that shoe. Same with the half bar, okay? So if we've trimmed our feet in all three coordinates, we should be able to make our shoe in a similar fashion, and then when we know it's going to fit. Quite often I make shoes at home, I think, yeah, that's going to fit that horse. Take them to the job, and I think, my word, I'm going to have to put a heat on it because this lady's thinking I'm just going to get a cold shoe out and pop it on. But I've made it at home. See the foot in my head, make the shoe, take it to the job, maybe a little adjustment. But that's the difference, making shoes for the feet to machine-made shoes. Okay, we can put all the little things that they need, like extra pitch, no nails here, some nail holes here, whatever it is. Okay, right. Now, Denmark. This just further establishes what I'm trying to say about good hoof conformation. We've got good hoof geometrics here, okay? So, there's the articulation. The drawing that you saw earlier, what I did with that was to get the ratios, plot them on some little square paper. I didn't say, oh, we're going to get 3.5 inches here, we're going to do 2.5 inches over. It wasn't that, it was all ratios. So whatever foot I drew, that's how it came out. So all the ratios were right, okay? And this is a picture that Denmark has provided, just again to show that if we've got good symmetry, we've got good HPA, that we're going to have a good healthy hoof capsule. Something you might be more familiar with. Once we start looking at the hoof capsule as well, we also incorporate the proportions of the horse. Short couple, long back, you know, they provide different types of interference, okay? So we won't spend much time on this, but this is M. Rayner called, well, I mean, it's in the library, all right? It's a good little book. But this just describes some of the portions which, again, we assess that horse in a couple of minutes and think, yeah, it could brush or it could overreach because it's short backed. We just do it straight away, okay? There's some more detail on proportions. Alright. Now, what I use, if I'm trimming foals, I will do an assessment for them. Okay. My assessment comes from, have you heard of Maudsley? Nobody. Right, what Maudsley has got some good confirmation information. So has AAP, American Association of Equine Practitioners. IVIS will also provide you with some, okay? Goodies have got a good one, but I reckon they take it from Maudsley. Okay? And again, back in Clayton, they've got superb equine locomotion, that's the book I was thinking of. They've got a superb bit on confirmation of different breeds as well. So it's not, you know, the confirmation here just probably depicts pony, but they go into some detail with confirmation. Very good book. That's just for the feet. Right, here, foot balance. That one there, they're all normal. Alright? One's a bit up, one's a bit sloping. But you ain't going to change that. Once the growth plates are closed within that equine, if it's sloping, it's sloping. You're not going to do anything with it. But a sloping conformation would predispose it to more soft tissue injuries, yeah? Because you're stressing the flexor units and the extensor units more, whereas an upright, who would know what an upright conformation would predispose it to? Nobody even think about it? We've got flexor units and extensor units in the leg. We've got a skeletal structure in the leg, so if we're stressing the flexor units and extensor units, upright conformation, what we're going to be doing? Stressing the skeletal structures, okay? But here, out of Hickman and Humphrey, we have got a broken back, a broken forward. But this is where the phalanges, the articulation's not in line. Okay, so yeah, we have got something going wrong here, alright? Well, not on F, because that's normal, alright? But that's broken forward at the DIP, and the other one's broken back. Alright? Quite easy. You can easily see that. How are we doing for time?
Good. Half miles.
Well, there's a fair few. Right, here's one out of Hickman's, a bit outdated, I'm not going to slag it off, but you can see here that if we drop a line down there, it's way back, so the drawing's probably not quite right. Probably needs amending, let's say. But we'll move on. But here, look, 4 feet. We teach the lads and the girls, right? 4 feet, HPA, hoof phalangeal axis, not hoof pastern. Hoof pastern's one bone. Phalangeal is the whole, all 3 of those, okay? So it's a hoof phalangeal axis. Hilary Clayton, she says there's a mean angle of 54 degrees. These are good estimates, right? It's usually higher in foals because they're going to come down a bit, right? So things are different in foals, so you know, bear that in mind. Hind feet, yeah, is higher. Their hoof conformation is slightly different. Their hoof conformation is narrower and more vaulted, okay? It's there for braking. The fronts are steering, so they're wider, a little bit flatter, okay? And Adams, Lameness and Horses, good book, he says it's anything less than 50 degrees is abnormal. But with all these figures, they're all good, but we can get a situation where we've got a club foot which falls into a normal category. So, you know, you've got to look at the whole limb, the whole horse, its conformation. Right, can we all see that? Right? Good husbandry, good farrier, good healthy horn. This is one of my clients. Right? Young horse come over from Ireland, and it events at intermediate level, barefoot. Never has a problem. Its conformation's not perfect, it toes in a little bit, and I'm sure that this foot here has got something along the lines of a keratoma, but I cannot diagnose because I'm not a vet. But the distortion to the white line and the horn on this side is massive. But you can see here that if you've got everything right, good food, good farrier, those feet really don't look very good though. They are fantastic. Really hard feet, okay? Right, I think we see things going wrong now. Can we all see that? Look at the proportions of this, okay? We've got knuckling forward. I mean, I'm thinking that the tip of P3 is going to be down here, okay? This is one of my horses that I used to trim. The client had been trimming this herself for years, but didn't know anything about hoof. We're going to do that, aren't we? You know, she doesn't know anything, or she didn't know anything, but, you know, look at all this distortion here. The slide actually shows big cracks up here, big cracks here, all cracks at the front. Now, if we were to look at the geometrical proportions of this horse, the white line was right round here, okay? So that means that the white line was right up there. She wanted me to get this foot back to proportions. I would have taken P3 out, you know. I said to her, look, I can't. That's the best I could do. That was the finalised trim. All this frog here, God knows what had happened. I can't see as that was toe callus. That was growth of the frog. I couldn't get it off because it would have gone into sensitive structures. But the white line literally was right around the peripheral edge of the foot. Look, the proportions are just massively out. I'd say you've got, that's probably 3 to 1. Completely wrong, completely wrong. It's not good, but we've got a bone structure which is coming down here. So we've got P2, and then God knows how P3 was in there, but it was all wrong. The horse couldn't walk. It was put down in the end. And that's an equine owner that was doing their own trimming, but I took over from him. She's got some more now that I trim. Now, this one here is an equine professional, not a farrier. But can you see, what's this horse going to walk on? Sole. It can't walk on anything else but sole and frog. This horse must be crippled. Can you see? This pretty much here is pigmented horn, meaning that they've gone straight down the horn, taken it all off. It can't walk on anything. There should be horn all up around here. Can you see that? Is that clear? Yeah? They've taken it right down to live sole, okay? They probably had a good hack at the frog, okay? There's no toe callus. If that's going to go barefoot, it's got nothing hard to walk on, and it can't share any weight on any part of that foot apart from the sole. It's going to kill it. Christ, that must have been that. And if we look at the growth rate, 8 millimetres a month, quarter of an inch a month, that's going to be in pain for months, isn't it? Yeah? Absolutely months. And this is an equine professional, okay? So we've got clients who trim their own horses and equine professionals. Equine professionals who are not sure what they're doing. Service clients that don't know what they're doing. Right. Here's some of the things that you need to start looking at if you go to, when they go to clients' horses, how will they assist the veterinary?
With these guys, depends where they work. Some might go into rehab.
Ah, right, yeah.
Some might go into running yards.
Yeah. All right then. Well look, first one here. This poor little pony. You can see that the hoof proportions are way out, okay? I mean, we've got a length of dorsal wall there, which is comparable to the heel height. Rationale for laminitis: chop the heels down, take the toe back. Do that on that horse, it'll kill it. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a minute. So there's something you would want to recognise. Poor hoof conformation. This one is due to the pathology of laminitis. This one here, God knows what the client was thinking, but can you see there's a massive crack that goes right from the coronary band down to there. Okay, we've got to take some of the toe back, all right? But pretty much this is floating. False quarter. I don't know whether that horse was in pain or not, but it didn't move too much. But that there needs a bar shoe on to spread all the ground bearing and weight bearing forces, so that you take some of the weight and forces off this section. Now here, this one here, that was after the trim. Look at the height of those heels. Okay, what's happened there is that this one's got sheared heels. Okay, where the heels have wrapped around so much they've just not been allowed, been trimmed, and the soft dural structures up here are compromised because the horn still wants to do this, but it can't. It's hard, so it cracks, it splits. Sheared heels. That horse would have been in a lot of pain, but that there would take probably a good 4 or 5 months to come back. That one there, you could trim it back, but you kill it. You would have to do this one maybe once a week for several months to reduce that and not put so much pressure on the deep digital flexor units that it would pull on the dorsal wall, because it's going through the process of laminitis. Okay, so we're losing the interdigitation. But this one here, all right, there's still a lot of solar depth to come out, and this is atrophy of the frog. This is where we are not getting good hemodynamics in this foot. Okay, it's lost it. Capsular distortions, clinical signs, all right, abnormal growth rings. Do you see how they're wider here and they're closer there? All right, that's because the laminal surface on P3 has the basement membrane has broken down. It's not providing any nourishment to the laminal surface. The horn structure here is all broken down, so there's no interdigitation. Okay, and as soon as you lose that, it puts all the stresses onto the other parts of the wall, and at some point the whole lot will tear. Okay, so these are still growing nicely, but there's no blood supply to the laminal surface here, so this is why these are retarded. Okay, we'll have another look at that one in a few minutes. Here, pre and post. One of my clients again. Okay, she bought a horse, hadn't been trimmed for a long time, and said, I need some help. This is not as bad as some of the others. It's just, this one had a conformation problem, a bit cow hot. So what it was wearing the outside down quite a lot. Okay, there, that would help you see the growth rings. So this one here, when I looked at the limb, it all looked pretty good. All right, it's a little bit cow hot. The other thing that I look at is the solar depth. Mike Savoldi, which I'll show you at the very end, he did a study on uniform sole thickness. Okay, wherever you trim the sole, it's going to be a uniform thickness in relationship to P3. So that was quite deep, that one wasn't. So it's quite again, I'm not going to do it all in one go, but we got a slightly better alignment of the limb, and we're a bit closer to the ground here. So all I did was take the flare off and take a bit more off the inside, not the outside. Just going to wear the outside more. Alright? But if you see distortions like that, they're captured distortions, it's probably a gate defect. Here, this was unbelievable. Can we all see this up here? Put my hand over there, see that toe? It looks like it's been sliced off. Well, it's not. That's abnormal wear, look. Little pony with some pathology of the hop or hips. Been worked in a sand school and that toe's not there. Missing. But this is over years. That ain't going to happen overnight. If that happens overnight, excess blood loss, there's just no foot there. But they can't. That's taken a long time to all wear down. And one of the apprentices at college puts on a massively set toe. That's to protect that toe. But can you see? It's lost it. That toe should be over there. But how can you not see that your horse has lost its toe? You're gonna think, oh, something wrong with yours. No, you just need to feed them all. But oh, look at the feet, okay? They tell you all sorts of things. Oh, right feet, these are a bit trickier, okay? A bit trickier. A naturally right foot cannot be remedied. And this means that this horn will always grow like this. Pretty much, if we say that that's the depth of the sole, and that is the inside, that would make this diagram better. It's not my diagram, but if that said medial and that said lateral, and that's swirled into the inside, that'd be a cracking right foot. There it is there, okay? But see, that's different to that. That might go right. You can sort that one out because you've got excess horn here, you've got incorrect sole depth, you've got incorrect alignment of the coronary band and the joints and relationships, say the floor, okay? So that one is easy. That was not too bad, but you can't go, you can't just chop that off at an angle following those growth rings. Here we go, this is a real good one, all right? Again, this is one of my clients. Believe it or not, this client is a judge of show ponies and breeds them. Well, hang on a minute. I went to see this pony. I thought, not right, is it? Okay. What do we think's gone wrong here? Anybody got an idea? No idea? Contracture of the flexor units, yeah? So it's done that, okay? Probably the DWCF. What's happened here is that this show pony, youngster, has spent 6 months inside over winter. I trimmed it a couple of times, looking all right. They pop it out, spring grass, bit of exercise, voila. The bones start growing, they grow faster and faster, the flexor units are not keeping up. So all this, you've lost this nice HPA, all right? There's a reasonable HPA, but it's still grade 1. But look, if we see this radiograph, look at the orientation of P3. You know, that needs to be between 5 and 7 degrees, the solar surface in relation to the floor for that equine. That is going up to 70 degrees, you know, it's just ridiculous. You can see that there's distortion in the hoof capsule. I mean, it's only a young pony. I think it was a year old, less than that, you know. That's going to be providing, if this carried on, years of pain and pathology which would never be corrected. There it is there. This is Stephen O'Grady, okay? There it is there. You break it up, all the front edge of the horn, because that's what's making contact with the ground first. Okay? And if we look at the skeletal structure, we're going to have a hell of a problem down at tip P3. You know, there's going to be lighted changes, which will probably never recover. All sorts of problems. What are we doing for time?
10 more minutes.
10 minutes, right. Right, I can try and whip through these. More clinical signs of things that have gone wrong, okay? False quarter, again, that big horse that we saw. This is a polo pony that's just been chucked out in the field, comes back. You know, it's had no farrier for 6 months or so. And look at the state there. Again, we've got a false quarter happening. Here, side bone. Very, very straight medial lateral branches, okay? So here, there's the radiographic evidence, there's the side bone, the collateral cartilages have ossified and you've lost foot function. That foot is not that foot, that's just put in there to show you side bone, okay? So, this foot here has lost all its function, okay? It cannot expand, it cannot contract. So, you can see, look, what's happened to the frog, and the horn has come around so tight here, it's going to be, you can have sheared heels, you can have some problems there, alright? Other problems, if you're looking at things, you know, you've got, this one doesn't show it here, I might change this one, put in distortions to the hoof bars, because the hoof bars are very, very important. They don't just terminate and stop here, they're part of the internal foot, which provides strength to the whole hoof capsule. So I could change that and put some external bar pathologies. Sometimes what you'll find is that there would be a weak bar. I'd like to see the bars terminate just about midpoint, centre of rotation, which dropped down on that diagram that I showed you. But here, I'd like to see the bars at least terminate down to there, okay? They're weak bars at the moment. There's a distortion to the white line, which sometimes you might see. It's a keratoma, okay? Right, there's a corker. That foot there, is that one there, doesn't look too bad. Looks reasonably straight, doesn't it? I pick it up, I look at that, this is the inside, that's the outside. What the hell's going on? Yeah? Crazy. There's your, if you were to put a sagittal section or an axis down there, alright? Here is a shunted heel, okay? So you've got no structures which are really in line with each other, okay? So what I had to do there was, over about 5 trims, floated this heel, okay? I haven't got that, what I could do is put the picture on there, but solar surface, chop, 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 chop a bit more, level, chop a bit more, so there's no ground contact from probably 2/3 of the medial, sorry, 1/3 of the medial heel, which meant that the tissue could drop, okay, because this heel had been shunted, right? So I had to drop this one, all right? Bear in mind that all this horn is very, very flexible, but it's very, very tough, okay? If it wasn't flexible, horses would never survive. But I had to float that heel. Oh yeah, look, remember that pony? That's what's going on. Look at the proportions are here. So we've got a heel height, probably the same as the toe. But you can see that there is here distorted hoof growth, alright? Distorted, the rings are wider here, closer here, because we've got trauma, we've got pathology. That's an x-ray of it. A mate of mine's pony, she wanted him to save it. And what's he going to do? That's taken years to go like that. I mean, he put a clog on it, but that's have it put down. Look, that should be 5. That solar surface of P3 should be between 5 and 7 degrees to the floor. Okay, so this horse, all this here is horn structure. So this horse has been putting a lot of weight through this limb onto the distal fringe of P3, killed it in the end. Right, just quickly, I want you to see these, right? Northern Virginia Equine. If you Google that, look at Stephen O'Grady, he's got some fantastic stuff on there, all right? A lot of stuff about young horses, a lot of stuff about pathologies, a lot of stuff about, there's some stuff by vets on there as well. That is well worth Googling, okay? Equine Locomotion, fantastic book, great stuff for your conformation and stuff like that. The only hoof trimming protocol which you'll get for a repeatable process for a thesis would be this one here. There is no other foot trim which you can use for scientific purposes. You can Google that, you can get it up. Whether you can print it off or not, I don't know. Right? This one here, Equine Lameness Prevention Organisation, is quite good. They've got a natural balance hoof evaluation, but they look at the structures just like what we've done here. But they also look at the bars more, and that's quite good. Okay, this here, Gene Ovinek, Natural Hoof Care, that is good if you can get hold of it. Adam's Lameness in Horses, excellent. Lameness in the Horse, Ross and Dyson is another good book. So if you want to further look at some of these protocols, foot trims and pathologies, have a look at some of those books. Right, any questions? No questions?
Brilliant. Sean, thank you
I rushed through it mine a bit, so I knew you had to finish it.
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll get the PowerPoint up on the class with your comments.
Yeah.
So, thank you very, very much. So, round of applause for that. Well, definite food for thought for everyone. Everyone hopefully will now be going and looking.
Yeah.
Can we show a picture of Rubber's legs around?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're ignorant, so you just keep going.